Thank you very much, Your Eminence, Very Reverend President, members of the board. We're working on the weather. I saw Cardinal McCarrick do the most extraordinary thing as we were on our way out. He took out his cell phone and just said, "A few clouds." I don't know who he was talking with. Clearly they are on the way. Give us a few minutes, it will be a lot more comfortable in due time. It is fitting that I begin here at Catholic University with a confession. The degree you just saw me receive is the only degree I have received from Catholic University. Yes, I dropped out of college. The technical term I used at the time for what I did was transfer to GW. But the truth is, I was in too big of a hurry. I had too little money, and I was double digits away from a 4.0. The good news is you all start out here today with more than I had when I started. But as we say in the television business, more on that in just a moment. I'm allowed to reminisce, as this is the first time I've been able to come back since the day I left. I first came here on a weekend visit, a road trip from where I was living on the Jersey Shore. I was a fireman back then, and a buddy of mine thought it would be a good idea to fill his van with beverages and come down here on a weekend trip. He was visiting his girlfriend, and I was attending community college at that time, and upon arrival, the cathedral was the first thing I saw, and I rapidly came down with a severe case of Potomac fever. I applied, and to my astonishment, I was accepted. I was a work-study kid. As Father mentioned, I worked in the Office of Public Affairs. I was a late application as well, and so, to my horror, when I moved all my trunks down here and my boxes, and I finally arrived on campus, the admissions director looked at me and said, "There is no room for you in the dorm. You will have to live across the street at Trinity College." I was very upset. I knew that this would mean I would lose out on the kind of towel-snapping, very male camaraderie of a dorm life here at Catholic University. I was upset until dinner that first evening. I had never seen 600 Catholic girls in one place. I moved into the second floor of Alumni Hall, had the feel of a monastery. Nothing could have been further from the truth. Down the hall, I heard the unmistakable sound of the B-52s. Not the aircraft, mind you, the rock group. It was the song Rock Lobster. I'll never forget it. And I've been waiting all morning to see how we were going to sign that one for the deaf. I hunted down the stereo, and bounding from the room where the music was coming was a young man, ebullient, great personality. He hailed from the Jersey Shore, so we knew instantly we had a lot in common. He introduced himself as Eddie, a sophomore. You may know him today as Edward Gillespie, chairman of the Republican National Committee. There's more where that came from if he ever tries anything on me. My Trinity years, as I now refer to my Catholic University years, were the greatest. There were just a few of us, really, who were worthy of the honor of living at Trinity. We were all hand-selected. Not every young man fits the requirements of dorm life at a women's college. I dated one girl for the most part during my time there, so I was considered safe. I wanted the girls to see me more as, oh, I don't know, Dad. I told them all the time, I want no special treatment. Pretend I'm not here, in fact. Dress as you would. Walk as you would down the hall during the day. These were great years. This was, of course, a long time ago. Back then, Norman Ornstein was only on television 3 times a week. I had no money. I drove a cream-colored Dodge Dart Slant 6. Yes, it was a chick magnet. The highlight of my time here, without question, was in this very doorway, shaking hands with the Holy Father during his visit to this campus. I didn't tell him where I was living at the time. And I certainly never dreamed I'd be back in this capacity. I know you all remember your first days here. Perhaps you remember that first summer ran long, unseasonably warm, right up until the moment where, had there been any doubt, your childhood was cut short. The weather that early September weekend 2000, Sunday the 10th, I now call the last carefree day in modern American history. This is where we get to you. And I should probably say, I am so sorry, because your parents and your grandparents worked so hard to make sure that everything would be okay as we sent you off into what we assumed would be a safe world. But now that's not up to us anymore. Think about what has happened to your world while you have been here, while Catholic University of America has been your world. In just 4 years' time, we have suffered the worst attack on the United States in the history of the United States. We have wars underway in 2 fronts, in Afghanistan and Iraq. I have been alongside our soldiers over there. Just as you cannot change the fact that you have spent these war years here in these safe confines, they cannot change their assignment or their fate over there. We cannot thank them all, at least not personally. We can try here today to make enough noise to make ourselves heard over there.